it was like strange in a way because it was like meeting people that I had always wanted to meet. And actually that first year, Dan and I were not the only couple. Some friends of ours also came up, and another couple, they came together because we are big believers in that together we educate our children.
Amen.
Welcome to the Homeschool Journal, a show that unpacks the joys and journeys of the classical homeschool family. Here's your host, Carrie McGraw.
Welcome back, friends, to the Homeschool Journal. Today we are talking about Sodalitas, and you're going to ask me right away, what is that, Carrie? It is our summer conference. It is Latin for the gathering. We hope that you will come this summer and gather with us as friends at our summer conference focused on homeschoolers. It's in July, but what we're going to spend our time doing today is talking to those who have been really integrally involved in our summer conference, who have helped plan it, who have attended it. What are their stories? What is it that they want to share with you so that you know what you're going to get out of the conference when you come and join us this summer, either virtually or in person, but we'd love to see you. So let's hop into our podcast and listen to our stories from our friends. Dianna,
hey,
you're back in the studio with me. I'm so excited to have you again.
It's going to be so much fun today.
I know it's going to be fun today, and we're going to talk to a bunch of our friends.
About my favorite subject.
About your favorite subject, really? Oh, that's good to know. I mean, it's quickly becoming one of mine, that's for sure. Because
it's my favorite week of the summer.
Oh,
seriously.
Wonderful.
So.
Well, and I haven't even gotten to experience it in person yet, so I'm anticipating this greatly. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through several of our friends that have really had that really close-knit experience with Sodalitas, our summer conference. We're going to start with Jessica, who really was the impetus of all of this, and we get to hear her story. Then we're going to move on to our other friends that, have helped us plan, have also attended. So let's get Jessica on the phone. Are we ready?
All right, let's go.
All right. I think she's there. Jessica, are you with us?
I am.
Yay.
Good to be here.
Oh, thanks for joining us today. And we're starting with you, just like I said a second ago, that you were the beginning of Sodalitas. It was, I think, your idea, your baby from the start. I know you weren't alone, but I really want to go back to the beginning and talk about, where did it come from? Where did the idea come from? And what was your hope in launching our Sodalitas Summer Conference?
Well, the funny thing is that this was truly born out of necessity. And so my family started using Memoria Press in the fall of 2012. And then I didn't even know about summer training for 2 years. So then I went in 2014, and there was a tiny homeschool breakout. No, we were overflowing the room, but it was one tiny breakout in the whole teacher training session led by Sarah Kay, Martin Cawthron, Andrew Pudawa, and it was not long enough. And so then the following summer, we got the news, the gym is being built. There will be no summer training. And so for homeschoolers, we cannot wait that long. There was no other resources. And so I said, can I do something? And they said, if you'll do it all, we'll host you and we'll bring you books and we'll resource you and give you teachers and everything. And so it just really started from scratch. And Mrs. Lowe had always wanted something like this, but they didn't want to plan it for us. They wanted homeschoolers to plan it. And so it was really just a fullness of time. And the first year that we came, it was so sweet because a lot of us are around other homeschoolers and a lot of us are around other classical educators, but it's pretty rare that you're in a room when every single person in the room, if you say Crea Maxim, that means something to them. If you say famous men of fill in the blank, that means something to them as well. And it was just such a sweet time. And like Dianna said, wouldn't trade it. It's an important part of the summer. But that's where it came from. And really this idea, a lot of us participate on the forum on the Memoria Press website. And when we first met, I was thinking, this is a living forum. We're together. And then later, I realized the irony is that a forum is actually living. That's what it is. The online forum is a substitute for when you can't be together. Mm-hmm. And so it really, in truth, the being together and talking about it in one room is the best. And then if you can't physically be together, you can talk about it online.
That's right.
But as an extrovert, man, I want to get everyone in the same room. That's what I want to do. And so that's what it is getting everyone in the same room.
And we still try to, keep those connections, while we are apart, because we do have to spend, that year apart until we get to come back together again. This will be my first time to see everybody in person. And I just want to say, I want to hug. Somebody hug me, please, when you come. So because last year, we had to go completely virtual. But at the same time, you said something here a second ago about, how it started, and they asked that it be, coordinated by, run by, focused on homeschoolers. And I think that's really important. And that's what we've kept. We have a steering committee that works all year long, meets all year long, virtually, of course. And so this thing that you got the ball rolling on, Jessica, it's still rolling. So what are we in now? Like year 6? Is this technically year
7?
6 or 7? I I think we're all struggling with that one. But so tell me what it meant to you through the years, Jessica, to see this grow, because that's my understanding. It's just really grown.
Well, the need never goes away. Like I am still as needy, but in a different way than the first year I came. Every single year, I continue to be an older person. My children continue to be older people. They continue to be in new subjects that I haven't heard before. Just this morning, I was talking with other parents of high schoolers about Cicero and Augustine and classical metaphysics and what in the world. You don't talk about that really when your oldest child's in 4th grade, but you will talk about it when they're in high school.
Right.
And so as you continue to grow, you continue to need encouragement and equipping and guidance. And you need to see physically, when possible, other people making the same choices. And you can live on people's stories forever. Like I've lived on stories about the people that teach and write for Memoria Press. I've lived on their stories for years. I try to pass down my stories. Those are things that help you see it through when it's tough. And you need to hear someone on the other side saying they loved it. It's a delight. Don't rob them of this opportunity because you think, I'm not so sure about that. Literally just having that conversation this morning. And what happens is someone asks a question and then people who have walked through it give their responses. Right. And it sometimes it's, don't do it. It's not ever slavish in the recommendations. We all know that details matter, that every single person's family matters. If you're taking care of your ailing parents or grandparents, my answers to you are going to be different. Those details matter, and they cannot usually be hashed out online. Those are conversations over lunch or over breakfast or over dinner or off to the side after a session when someone has shared something. And you grab them after the session and you talk to them in the hallway because you're walking the same path just for now. And you want to have that opportunity. And it's really hard to find that online. And online is a blessing. It's been such a blessing this last year, but it's not the best. It's a second best.
It is.
It's a medicine. It's not food, to steal a C.S. Lewis line. The food is person to person interaction. And if we've learned anything this last year, we know we need it so desperately.
We do. And that's what we're hoping to get back to this year and excited to get back to here in Louisville, Kentucky. And, you talked about sharing stories and that's what we want to do today.
Absolutely.
Right,
Absolutely. I'm just listening to Jessica, fellow extrovert. I'm like, oh my gosh, how many days is it? We're like less than 2 months.
we need one of those, not an advent calendar, but a countdown Sodalitas calendar.
Yes.
Right?
Like a paper chain. Rip one down every day.
Well, Jessica, we can't wait to see you this summer. We're just under a couple months away or less than. And we're really looking forward to it. Jessica, thank you for all that you did and have done and continue to do to support Memoria Press there in Nashville and here. When you get here, we're just excited. So thanks for joining us and letting us know a little bit more about the launching of Sodalitas.
My pleasure. Looking forward to seeing you all in July.
God bless, Jessica.
Can't wait to see you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, Dianna, who are we going to call next?
Okay, so you know what I'm thinking? We probably need to talk to somebody who is not super over the top extroverted.
Yes.
Just so that
Like you, Jessica, and me.
Right. Hugs for everybody.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Let's change pace. Is that
Right.
it?
Slow it down a little bit so that people understand that this is really a conference for everybody.
It is.
So I have a great idea.
Mhm.
I think we should call our friend Melanie Larson.
Yes.
Because she has such a beautiful story about her experience as a Sodalitas.
Mhm.
And I think that will really resonate with
And
people.
Melanie's one of those soft, sweet spirits that I absolutely cherish. So let's call Melanie.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Hello.
Melanie. Listen to us. It's Dianna and Carrie. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. So we are calling you about our Sodalitas. We're going to have you share some stories.
Yes. So going to Sodalitas as an introvert is my story.
That's exactly,
Wait,
you know
that's
what?
kind
That's
of what
exactly what we were talking about when we called you.
we just talked to Jessica, and Jessica, Dianna, and I are those loud personalities, and we said let's call this soft, sweet, wonderful Melanie, because we know that your perspective is so important. About, venturing into a place you had not gone before that might not have been a natural, visit for you. So what do you want to share with our listeners today on our podcast about Sodalitas?
Well, my first Sodalitas was in 2016, and I was coming from Florida, so it was a pretty long drive.
That is
and
long.
I didn't know.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
And I did not know anybody. I had been on the forum a little bit or the Facebook group, but I didn't know anyone. And so I went to all the sessions, but I really didn't talk to a lot of people. I remember Dianna talked to me. A couple of people talked to me, and that was good. That was very helpful to have.
Dianna.
Yeah, I talked to everybody.
To have an extrovert come talk to me. But I got really nervous about going to any of the optional dinners or social events, and I just skipped all of those. So I went to the sessions, talked to a few people, but then I just would go back to my room, get some dinner in my room. I read a whole book those few days in the evenings because that was my comfort level. And
Right.
You know what? I had a great time. It was still completely beneficial. I wasn't sorry I went or anything. It was just, that was the way that I could do it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so the next year, 2017, I went back and I was on a little bit of a budget control at that point, and I asked on either the forum or Facebook if anybody could share a room. And these two ladies very sweetly, generously offered to share their Airbnb with me. And so that was helpful to me because then I was staying with those ladies and obviously talking to them. We rode back and forth to the school.
That was helpful.
And that really helped kind of pull me in a little bit more. I went to the Sunday night dinner. I don't remember what else I did, but I went to a few extra things. I talked to a few more people that I remembered seeing the year before.
Like you're reaching out to people on the forum is so like our homeschoolers. I mean,
Yes.
That's just beautiful. And we've got a spot on the forum now for the summer conference. So if anybody out there's listening, this is great advice. This is fantastic advice. And I want them to reach out, and share a room. My goodness, I think that's a great idea. How brave that was of you. So tell us about that second year. Finish out that second year.
Yeah, so I went to a few of the extra social things, and I know I was more comfortable that year. I had, a little bit of a footing of what happens at Sodalitas and a few people, so that was helpful. But by the next year, in 2018, I went to everything. I think that was the first year I stayed all week. I stayed for the teacher training.
That's the year we went out to dinner.
Okay.
Now I remember that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely that year. I went to everything. I think I stayed till they kicked us out. Till everybody was leaving.
Right.
That year I knew these are my people. These are my friends. And it was, but every year was still good. Every year was still beneficial, even though I was sort of taking these baby steps socially.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the sessions and connecting with people, each year, my level of comfort increased, but each year was beneficial for its own self, regardless. And so then in 2019, it was the same thing. These are my people. I went to everything, but I was also asked to speak. So that pushed my comfort level up another notch.
Watch out,
I had to
folks.
get up and talk.
Here she comes.
And it was a tough topic too.
So each year has kind of been pushing it a little more. And then last year and this year, I was asked to help with the steering committee and helping to plan. So each time I've been able to move a little bit further, stretch myself a little bit more, and, quite a lot from where I started out reading all night in my room.
Absolutely. Well, and then last year, you took on the book club, and that had to go completely virtual. And all of us had to pivot to something that was a little foreign,
right?
Across the nation, whether they were, visiting us virtually or, it was my first year involved in Sodalitas period, and it was virtual only. And I had not even experienced the in-person, and Melanie did the most amazing job.
Because that's hard to speak virtually and not have feedback from people,
Yes.
like to just
Yes.
sit and talk to a screen. It is the
Right.
weirdest
It
thing
is.
because
It
you're
is
just like,
hard, but she
can't read the
was
room.
incredible. And so this story of yours of starting out not being really comfortable, I never would have known that about Melanie. And Melanie's gonna do another session again this year. And so we can't wait to see you in person. Melanie, thank you so much for really just sharing that bit of vulnerability, that little bit of, you started out a little uncomfortable, and look at where it went. And it went that way because you were brave and because we are all friends. Everyone's coming.
Absolutely. So I've got a quick question for you. If you can just wrap it up into just one little nugget, what would you say to people that are a little extroverted, who are kind of on the fence, like, I don't know about this, it'll be so scary? Everybody's going to know each other, because that, I think, sometimes is a fear if you're not going with a group, and
right, if you're coming by yourself, right?
So what would you say to folks like that?
Yeah, I just want to encourage anybody who's like that, like I was the first year, it's fine to go and do whatever you're comfortable doing. And I really believe that it will still be beneficial to you personally and to your homeschool if you just go and do the things that you're comfortable doing. And if you start to freak out and feel like, I don't know what's going to happen, it's okay to go back to your room and read in the evening and recover from all the peopliness of the day. It's totally fine, and it's really beneficial.
That's so cute.
Peopliness. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. I can't wait to see you this summer.
And I offer anybody, if you come, if it's your first time, if this is not a natural thing for you, come and find me. Please come and find me. Just come and I've already said before, I want a hug. You don't have to hug me. It's really okay. But I am excited to be my first time in person and get to meet people. Yes, I'm that extrovert. I really am. But cannot wait to see everybody. And Melanie, I cannot wait to see you. Thanks for spending this time with us, dear.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, hon.
Bye-bye.
Dianna, this is so much fun, is it not? I mean, how sweet of Melanie. So let's call Rose next. And I think
that sounds like a great idea.
I think I want to call Rose next because she's kind of the newest to the steering committee.
Right.
And she's so young. She's so cute. I can't wait for people to meet Rose. Okay, so let's get her on the phone.
That sounds like a great idea. She's got a good story to tell too.
Hello.
Hey, Rose. It's Dianna. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Hi, Rose. It's Carrie, too.
Oh, hey, Carrie.
We're having so much fun here in the studio today.
This is
I'm
like
a little bit jealous. I want to hop in my car.
She wants to hop in her car. Yeah, you really aren't that far.
Oh.
But
well, we're calling
Can you wait an hour and a half?
No.
Right
no.
there.
Sorry.
Well, we called you today because we would love to hear your take on Sodalitas and kind of the backstory about how you came and your experiences, just for a different perspective. So I'd love to hear about that from you.
Okay, well, I'm have to start with a tiny bit of history. I'm a second generation homeschooler,
Yes,
and I went to a small cottage school-esque type school for a church, and Martin Cawthron was my Latin and logic teacher when I was
goodness.
probably.
Because that's not intimidating at all.
No, right.
I don't really remember my first impression, but one of the things I remember about Martin is he had these really shiny shoes with little tassels on them that clicked in a very specific way. I remember that. And I also remember we loved to just listen to him talk about anything but the subject that we were studying.
We are so
Which-
going to send this episode to him now that you've said all this about
Well,
Martin.
now I
Well-
did hear that he can be easily distracted. I have heard that from people who have been
It
in his
is
class.
true. And right around the time when I was taking, I think, Logic, the Lord of the Rings movies were being released. And so it was kind of an unspoken game to try and get Mr. Cothran to talk about the movie during class.
Oh, that's
Because
so
if we could
funny.
do that, we would not be talking about Logic. We'd be talking about
Students are so
Tolkien and
universal.
all these.
They are so.
Well, what was really
Teenagers
funny
do
is
this all
I
the time.
think that we thought we were tricking him, but now that I'm an adult and have been a teacher, he was not tricked. He just
Right.
wanted to talk about the movies.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, so I vaguely knew about his endeavor with Cheryl Lowe because I remember we were using his Logic book that he was writing at the time.
Mhm.
So we knew that there was the book that was out, and I remember using it. And that's all I really knew about it. And his whole thing with Sodalitas and Memoria Press, it didn't really become relevant for me until several years later when I had my first child entering into kindergarten.
Mhm.
And so I was looking at curriculum, and there was a lot more in the homeschooling world than I think my parents had access to.
Probably.
But
Yeah.
I was just looking at the stuff that I had used when I was a kid, and it was pretty good. And then a dear friend of mine, she said that I should look at what she called Martin's curriculum.
Oh, he's gonna love that.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know. Maybe we
think
shouldn't
she
send this
knew about
episode to
Mrs.
him.
Lowe at all. I don't think she knew about him, but she was like, Martin has curriculum. You should look at it.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, okay. And actually, it was funny because I was kind of like, I don't really want to, but I did. And my husband and I, we actually ended up signing up for Sodalitas in 2017. I think like a week before it happened.
Wow.
Oh my
We
gosh.
both looked at it and were like, we should go. So we signed up, and because it was in Louisville and we lived in Lexington, we could drive. We were getting up at 5 a.m,
Oh my
hopping in the
gosh.
car, driving into Louisville. It
With
was
lots of
hilarious.
coffee.
With
We hope.
lots of coffee. Well, the really funny part is my husband, Dan Sheffler, and Martin Cothran hit it off really awesome. Like they knew each other before that, but they had time to talk like after
Right.
Sodalitas. So we would be there after Sodalitas was over until like midnight. So then we would have to drive back home
Wow.
an hour and a half, go to bed, and get up again the next morning at 5 to come back to Sodalitas.
Dedicated.
But this year you are going to be staying in Louisville.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Well, this year, fingers crossed, Lord willing, we will have a house in Louisville, so it won't be that
Excellent.
far away.
Yeah, because Dan now gets to work with Martin full time.
Right. Right.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
So how was
and
that
he's
for you?
very
Your
excited.
first year, you and Dan coming to Sodalitas.
Well, it was really it was like strange in a way because it was like meeting people that I had always wanted to meet.
Oh. I
And
love
it was
that.
I remember listening to Andrew Pudewa particularly
Mm.
talk about fairy tales, which I have always loved.
Right.
And it was like this moment of like aha discovery. It was just it's like here were people that cherished learning and culture and beautiful things the way that I did, the way that me and my husband did, and the way that people around us, our small community
Yes.
did. And I was
Right.
like, oh, and it reminded me of there's this moment in The Four Loves where C.S. Lewis talks about friendship, and he says there are types of friendship, like real friendship is when you meet somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, you too? I thought I was the only one that was like this. And it was that kind of
love it.
moment where I'm meeting Paul and meeting Martin and meeting Brian and all these beautiful, wonderful people, Jessica Phillips and Dianna. I heard Dianna's talk
Oh my
at that
gosh.
Sodalitas, and I was like, I love these people. I want to be their friends. That
Mhm.
was kind of like just the cry of my heart. Like I would love to be with these people, and it didn't really even settle in that that's where we would end up. But it was just like these are my people. These are my people that I can like gather around and like hook arms together in lockstep and like
Right.
pursue this beautiful education, not only for my child, but to develop a culture and to pass that on to them.
I didn't ask Jessica earlier because we've already talked to her today. How the conference got named. gathering.
Oh.
And you just
Mhm.
talked about
Right.
that. You just said how we gather around, and it is a group. It appears I've not been able to do this in person, but I sure did feel it from across the miles last year when we
Mhm.
had to be only virtual. And I have
Oh
felt it
my
the
word,
entire
yeah.
time as we plan this conference. It's a gathering of friends.
Mhm.
And even though, our steering committee has to meet on Zoom and
Right.
I don't get to be in person with anybody but Dianna because she's right here. I am so anticipating this gathering of friends. And I
Yes.
don't think you could have put that any more perfectly for me anyway.
So, Rose, a
Yeah.
couple of things stood out to me, and I wanted to just capitalize on it because two things are super important. Number one, you came with Dan. So,
Yes.
hey,
Of course.
Bring your
dads.
husband.
Right. My
Bring your
husband's coming this year.
Yes, your husband's
So
right.
I'm so excited about that. So yeah, I just wanted to give a little shout out just to kind of highlight that, to say, hey, this conference is not only for homeschooling mothers, it's for
Also
homeschooling
for
parents.
dads,
So
parents, yeah.
And actually, that first year, Dan and I were not the only couple. Some friends of ours also came up, and another couple. They came together because we are big believers in that. Together, we educate our children. It's not just mom;
excellent. I
it's
love
dad
Amen.
and
that.
mom. And dad's role might be a lot, or a little, or medium, and it
Right.
depends on how his work goes. But Dan and I were always actually the reason that we chose Memoria Press, because I remember I said I was a little bit of a stink about it, and I said I don't know why, I just was. And Dan, and so I laid out the options that I was thinking about before Dan. I said, okay, honey, here's what we're doing. And he asked specific questions about each of them. And when we got to Memoria Press, it was the only classical education. And he is a classics major, a philosopher. And he's like, that's the one we're doing. And I was like, are you
Right.
sure? I don't know anything about it. And that's when we decided to go to Sodalitas, like a week before it happened.
Okay, perfect segue, because now I'm going to remind people that you've
there's
got
plenty of time to register.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Please do not hesitate to register. And I think that's the point of our stories today, is to share all the wonderful things that come out of this gathering. And Rose, you have reminded us of that just beautifully. So thank you today
love
for
it.
sharing
No,
with
it was
us
my
your story.
pleasure. It was
All right.
my extreme pleasure. Thank you.
Well, we can't wait till you move to Louisville, but more than that, we'll see you very soon this summer. Okay.
Okay, I'll see you. Thank
God
you
bless,
both.
Rose.
Thanks for calling us again.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, Dianna. Last
right.
call for the
Okay.
morning. Last call. We're going to call Jennifer. She has such a unique perspective on Sodalitas.
I agree. And I think this is a good, she's a great person to come and chat, especially regarding the Simply Classical track
Right.
of Sodalitas.
Right.
And explain that a little bit more.
Those particular needs, those special students that just have that extra need. So let's make that phone call.
Excellent.
Okay.
Hello.
Jen.
Hey, Jen.
Oh, there she is.
Hey. Finally.
You've got both of us here. How are you?
Hey, guys.
Well, we're calling to get your special perspective on Sodalitas. We've gotten to talk to Jessica and Melanie and Rose, and it's your turn. So tell us about your Sodalitas experience and what has been so important to you, because I think it's going to resonate with a lot of families.
Exactly.
Yeah, so my first Sodalitas was in 2017. I've been really blessed to be able to go with a friend most years, kind of my MP partner in crime.
Oh, that's good.
And it's really been life-changing for me as a teacher. There have been years where I've hesitated to go because, finances or kids. And my husband is always like, no, you need to go.
Oh, how
Um,
sweet.
Great.
Oh,
But it's because he sees the impact, the positive impact that it has
mhm.
on our school year. He sees me refreshed and connected, and then he sees how that trickles down to the kids and how what I've learned there improves our homeschool. A couple of things that really have stood out to me and have really made a big impact on us were Lilo. I love her plenaries, by the way.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely.
I
Everybody
love
does.
listening to her.
Yes.
And I think it was the 2019 conference where she said that Latin orders language like
Mhm.
math orders the sciences. And that just put it all together for me. I came from a history-centered background,
Mhm.
and we did Latin because everybody said that's what real classical education does. But this just really solidified why we do Latin and why it needed to be a priority because, you know, Cheryl Swope says, Latin is incremental, it's sequential, it's disciplined,
Right.
but, just like math, but now it's in that realm of language, of words. So, a child has to think through the order of things every single time they work with a word or a phrase or a sentence. And to have that order, it just affects a child on so many levels, and it trains their mind, and it just really pulled everything together for me and helped me be really confident in putting Latin, in the center of
In the
things.
center. Now, Jen, you have a really special perspective on how the simply classical portion of our Sodalitas conference can
Mhm.
affect a family.
Oh
Can
yeah.
and can help the homeschooling parent. And you talked about your husband Jeremiah encouraging you to go. Well, this year he gets to come.
Right,
He's
right.
Yes,
coming.
he
We're
does.
so
And
We're
he's
so
excited about that.
speaking. He's speaking.
Yep.
So again, dads out there, this is for you too. So can you speak specifically to your involvement in the Simply Classical portion and what
Sure.
that has done?
Yeah. So Cheryl has really just, when I say that Simply Classical and Cheryl and the SC moms have changed our lives, it is no exaggeration.
Beautiful.
We were drowning,
Oh,
and it we have multiple children with mild special needs, and we were literally drowning. And um, Simply Classical just was that lifeline we needed. Even my kids who were beyond Simply Classical, they were still there to support us and show us, how to work with them in the regular MP track
hmm,
and
Excellent.
make the modifications we needed. And the support to be able to then meet those women in person was huge. But even after we had been in Simply Classical for a couple of years, um, I was at Sodalitas. I was in a Simply Classical session, and Cheryl said something that I call it a gut punch because that's really what it was for me. And she said, "Enrichment raises us and them above circumstances. No one wants to feel that everything is remedial."
oh, beautiful.
And even now, I get goosebumps,
Right.
quoting that, because I was so focused on building up the weak areas and the skills that I was neglecting their strengths, and I was neglecting that enrichment portion. And that just gave me a whole new perspective on what my struggling kids needed. And it's Monday. Today is our day to do our together subjects, and we're about to dive into music appreciation and states and capitals and mammals, and they love it. They thrive on it, and they need that. And it's just, again, really changed things for us.
Well, I think that's a good reminder that it's so easy for us as moms with kids with special needs to get caught up in the minutia,
Mhm.
to get caught up
Yes.
in the just tasks, right?
Yeah,
Tasks and
exactly.
therapies and all of these different things that we have to do. And I think that reminds us that, these kids, these children that we have been given, they are human.
Yes.
They're more than their diagnoses. They're more
Yes.
than the task boxes and the therapies
That's
and all of
right.
that. So
Mhm.
getting together with other moms who are in that similar boat and being led by someone like Cheryl, who is
Mhm.
so experienced and so gracious. I mean, it helps
Mhm.
us out so very much.
And they're more than what someone tells us they can do.
Right.
We are their
Exactly.
moms. We know exactly what they are capable of. And here's the beautiful thing about classical education and all of the Memoria Press material, whether you're in the main track or whether you're in Simply Classical, they are able to achieve. And each of these tracks and these ways to teach the Memoria Press model, they will raise your children and pull them forward and develop them beautifully. And so, when we come to Sodalitas, we get that. You use the word refreshed.
I was going to focus on that
yes,
too.
I mean, and that was for me, like any conference that I went to as a homeschooler, it was all about let's renew mom.
Right.
And maybe I went there
Yep.
for selfish reasons, but I left.
I don't think it's selfish.
I don't know. But I
No.
left ready to tackle and just renew that next year. And so I hope that's one of the things that our friends will either come in person, would prefer in person. We'd love everybody to be here in person. But we do have this virtual option as well. We're trying to do both this year.
Well, because we know it's hard.
It is
very
hard.
difficult.
And not everybody can make it from California.
Yeah. Well, and on the simply classical side too, there are a lot of special needs moms who are dying to come, but they can't because their
Right.
children's
Right.
needs are so
Right.
intense. And so this opens up a whole new world for them. So I'm
Right.
really excited about that option.
Me too, and I just really want us to, reach those who want to be reached, and be able to be accessible, both for the conference but throughout the year as well. So families that are listening, we do have that page on the forum. If you're not registered on the forum, please register. Please go and look at our Sodalitas, conference from the main page of our website. Come and be with us and be refreshed, just like Jennifer said. Jennifer, thank you so much for your very
thank you,
special
guys.
and important perspective.
Good to talk to you today.
Yeah, and all the
You
wonderful things
too.
Jennifer's done through the years to help support Sodalitas as well. So, Jennifer, thanks a bunch.
Thank you guys. Take
All right,
care.
bye, hon.
Bye.
Okay, Dianna, our phone calls are done.
All
Our
right.
phone calls are done, but guess whose turn it is?
Oh,
It's
your
yours.
turn.
No, it's not my turn. No, because it's going to be my turn next year.
Oh,
because
that's
I
right,
get
that's
to
right.
be in person for the first time. For the first time this year, it's your turn.
Oh.
I want to hear what Dianna
I
has
fell
to
on the
say.
spot a little.
Well, no, you put everybody else on the spot with
True,
me, so it's your
true,
turn,
true.
right? Tell us what you take out of Sodalitas.
Well, I have been going since its inception, and I was thinking about this today. I don't remember how I heard about it.
Fun.
I know. I was like, and I meant to ask Jessica that somewhere along the way to think, okay, did we get an email about it? Was it announced? Because for people who are coming to Sodalitas now, when we started, it was very small, like 35 people. Like we were
Right.
over in the small building, like
I
in the
know.
cafeteria.
But I heard like the last time, 2019, when it was in person, that number had exponentially grown.
I mean, just grew and grew and grew. So it went from like a very intimate gathering to more of a big, huge gathering.
Mhm.
But still, I still think that it has, even within that huge exponential growth, it has still kept its intimacy. You know what I mean?
I think so. From what I've heard, from what
I've
everyone's told us,
I've gone
right?
to bigger, right. I've gone to huge conferences before, and you kind of get lost in the shuffle. But I don't think that happens to you here. Because like the girls have said, you meet people that you like, hey, okay, you also have to argue with your kids about why we teach Latin.
Mhm.
Or, yes, I'm sorry, we are going to learn classical studies and all these different things. So you know these people, you come away refreshed. Extrovert problems here, but I mean, I go and I stay all week. It's Sodalitas, the teacher training in the middle. I'm sorry, the pre-conference training in the middle, and then the
Right,
teacher training at the
training.
end. Because originally I came and I just stayed just for the homeschooling portion. That Sodalitas is specifically for homeschoolers. So as years went on, and I met more people, and I connected with more people, I was like, I want to stay to soak up all of this. Like,
Mhm.
I didn't want to go home. Like, I was exhausted.
God bless Brett.
Yes, God bless Brett for
That's your-
keeping all
that's your
those
husband.
kids while I can do this. Right. Because it's the energy that we were talking about earlier. Like, there's such energy on the campus because everybody's here with a common mission.
Yes.
Okay, we're all here together.
And values and goals.
Absolutely.
And absolutely. In classical
it's
education.
fantastic. I'm trying to think about if there's any. I mean, the only negative is I'm tired at the end. That's about it.
I don't think that's a negative. That's a
But
good
one
thing.
of the things that I have I have met people from all over the country, and so we come in and we just fall in, bloop, just kind of lockstep.
No.
I may not have seen these people.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen these people for now 2 years.
Mhm.
Okay, but when I see them in July, I mean, it's just going to swing it. We're just going to swing and go right on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you build families and families, a family of friends to help support you, that you can bounce ideas off of. I am always amazed and I'm shored up by other people. So I'm kind of in the middle. Okay. So I'm supposedly a veteran homeschooler because this is my 11th year. I still don't feel like I know what I'm doing half the time. But so it's nice because I am in that spot where it truly is to give and to receive. Dare et accipere. I'm probably butchering every single bit of that pronunciation, but it's to give and to receive. That's the motto. So I can speak to people who are over here on the pathway, you know, like behind me, right? And I'm leaning heavy on these folks in front of me.
That's right.
But it's great because I feel like I can kind of like go on both sides.
Beautiful.
You know what I mean? So I love it.
Well, I can't wait to meet all these new faces, the people that I have seen virtually.
It's going to be long days, awesome days.
I'm really looking forward to this myself, and I hope that everyone else too. And I hope that our listeners out there will consider, you know, joining us in Louisville.
Absolutely.
Would be our wonderful preference, but we know that that's not possible. And so this year we're going to do virtual as well. And so we want to make this as accessible to families as possible. Dianna, thanks for spending this time together.
I am so excited to be here with you.
Yeah. Awesome. We'll have to do it
much.
again sometime. All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you liked our episode, click the thumbs up button or leave a comment below and let us know what you thought. Click the bell icon or subscribe to stay in the loop and get notifications of when we have new episodes. You can also check out our other resources and videos on classical homeschool education. I'm Carrie McGraw. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.